We cannot start a spring real estate season without checking in with real estate icon James Wedgeworth, who joins Wayne Morris for a little discussion on where we are as we head into this spring season.
Thanks, Bob. We now have the pleasure to be joined by James Wedgeworth. James is the owner and operator of Charter One Real Estate here on the island. James, how are you today?
Doing great. Enjoyed being here.
Yes, sir. So Bob wanted me to ask you, I don't know if he's got a real estate transaction in mind or what, but he wants to know, when is the best time of the year to sell real estate? I know spring's coming up and Heritage, that's always a big month. So is this it? Is this the best time?
We track those numbers. I've been here for 34 years, and it seems like every year the results are the same. The best 30 days of the year, basically March 15th to April 15th. The obvious reasons: the weather's perfect, the azalea's in bloom. A lot of people come down to play golf during that time period. Spring break, Easter, and of course the Heritage Golf Classic is a big one. So that's
sure
the time to sell.
Yeah, the weather this week so far I think is pretty good.
So far so good. Yeah.
So from a leverage standpoint, it's a good time to buy, best time of the year. Who's in the driver's seat here? Who's got the leverage, the buyer or the seller?
Well, unfortunately for sellers, the market is not fully rebounded back. It's a little better than it was last year, but not significantly. Inventory levels have dropped some, but they're still higher than we would like to see them have. So today, if you're buying, you've got the leverage, and the sellers are just going to have to do the best they can. But it's a great time to buy because there's so many good deals out there today.
And how does that compare to the nation's trend? Is that similar, different?
No, the resort is really not. In fact, there's been some studies on that, and we don't have 30 minutes to go into it today, so I'll try to put it in a nutshell. But what has happened, the real estate market in what we call Middle America, or the real world, Pickletown, Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana, has gotten a lot better in the last year, because when you first come out of a recession, people are in what we call a first home mode. They're buying one, selling one, they're remodeling the kitchen, they're adding a pool, they're doing something with their first home, and they really haven't concentrated on the second home market yet, with the exception of South Florida because of Latino money, and Naples, Hamptons because of the European money. The other resorts on these coasts, be it ski resorts, mountains, lakes, rivers, beaches, have all been a little slower. Now, what history tells us that when you go through a prolonged expansion of the economy, the second home market would jump the first home market, but we're not there yet, which explains why over a 40-year time period, real estate on Hilton has done a whole lot better than real estate in Columbus, Ohio, even though last year they did better than we did. I don't know if does that kind of answer your question?
Sure, absolutely. So coming back locally here, year to year, we're through 2 months of the year in 2015. How did January and February of 14 stack up against January and February of 14?
That's a real important question. We had a terrible fall. When I say we, I'm not talking about me personally, I'm talking about the real estate market as a whole. September and October were not very good at all. Now, the economists and the people that study this said, well, everybody's waiting for the results of the midterm elections. I find that hard to believe, but that's what they told us. After the elections, we saw an increase in activity. And January and February this year were much stronger than January and February of last year. In fact, I told the guy the other day, I said, I see light at the end of the tunnel. He said, yeah, but that's true, but you're still in the tunnel. I said, yeah, but I'm cautiously optimistic that we're heading in the right direction. And property values improved a little last year, which is the first time in 7 years they'd gone up in value. They didn't improve a whole lot, but that's not significant. What's significant is they quit going down and headed in the right direction, which is very, very important for the future of Hilton Head real estate. It's been a rough 7 years, I'll say that.
It sure has. And your tunnel analogy, I think, is a good one. So that leads me to my next question. How will we know when we're not in the tunnel anymore, when we've reached the peak and we're back to a healthy market? How do we know that?
You'll know that by the inventory levels. We have what we call the 6-month line in real estate. Now, what that means is if you got 6 months of inventory, and the way that works, say you got a 100 houses on the market and you sold 100 last year, well, that means you got 12 months of inventory.
Okay.
Anything above 6 is excess inventory. We used to say if you got 6 months of inventory, prices don't go up, they don't go down, they stay the same. If you got less than 6 months of inventory, you'll see an increase in prices. Now that varies, like if you got 5 months inventory, prices may go up 3%. We know from 04 and 05, we were running 1 month of inventory and prices were going up 25% during that time period. So we're always watching the inventory, watching what we call the shadow inventory, which is kind of hard to predict. But we'll know when the inventory levels get below 6 months. Actually, there are a couple segments of the market that are below that now, which is the lower end single family homes, like say houses under 375 in Hilton Plantation. There's a very small inventory of those, and we've seen an increase in price on those. But the upper end is lagging. The $1 million sales, we just haven't had the activity in that price range we'd like to see.
I gotcha. So quickly, if anyone is looking for real estate in our area, you've done it better than anybody here for many, many years. What's your process? How do they get in touch with you? Where can they get more information on you? I know your website. Tell us a little bit about how to get in touch with you.
I'm pretty easy to find. I'm available 24 hours a day. My website is james@jameswedgeworth.com, and my cell number is 843-384-7825. I'm pretty easy to find, and I'm always available.